Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works, episode 31. I titled this one Get Lifted, and I've got my guest on this episode. We're going to get into her journey to where she is. If you're watching, you can see the snow falling in the background from her location. My guest is someone that is definitely doing something that is unique, and you're going to find out about that. That would be Mrs. Lexus McDaniel. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. We're going to get into your journey and what all you're doing in a second. But of course, with every episode, we open it up with the Black Girl Magic moment. And in this episode, we're going to talk about Nikki Giovanni. Now, for those that don't know, she recently passed away December 9th, 2024, at the age of 81 years old. Now, she was born in 1943 in Knoxville, Tennessee. Yes, she is a Tennessean. There we go. She is known as one of the world's best known. She's one of the world's best known African American poets, of course. She started kind of gain, notoriety, things like that in the 1960s, as she was at the forefront of the Black arts movement. She also, of course, her early work. Just kind of give you a little background. Her early work was, providing, kind of a strong militant African American perspective, leading one writer to actually dub her the poet of the Black Revolution. So that was awesome. And then 1970s, she wrote children's literature and co-founded a publishing company called Nick Tom Ltd. To kind of provide an outlet for other African American women writers. She's also a Fisk alum, by the way, so she does have Nashville connections as well. A lot of Fisk alum are mourning her loss. Of course, she's powerful. She's always been very, very powerful with her words, and actually, someone that is not probably talked about enough, I would say. And she will definitely sorely be missed. The profound impact, the powerful words that she had, and just the overall aura that she presented every time she spoke, talked, did anything. Miss Nikki Giovanni, gone, 81 years old. I salute you. I salute all that you've done. Thank you very much for all your contributions to make this world a better place for people that look like me, look like Lexis, across the world, state, country, whatever. Lexis, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, she very powerful. I'm from Knoxville. That's currently where I am now. So it's snowing here in Knoxville, Tennessee. But she did so much for, just Tennessee and more. And for our community, I never got to see her perform live. She performed at the Bijou Theater in Knoxville a lot. And so she will be missed.
Definitely missed. Now, at the current time, she was a adjunct professor, I believe, or a professor, I'm sorry, at Virginia Tech at her time of passing, I believe. I know she's affected that community as well. Definitely had to pay respects to someone that has definitely changed the world for the better, for sure. But of course, we got to go on into the show, and we're going to talk about someone else that is from Knoxville, Tennessee. That's you. And we want to get into your journey. Now, of course, I mentioned it. You grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, or did you fully grow up all the time in Knoxville, Tennessee, or just
Yep.
okay?
I was in Knoxville until I moved to college, and I started off college in North Carolina, and then I ended college undergrad at MTSU. So that's what took me to the Middle Tennessee, Nashville area. Go Blue Raiders! And then I came back to the Knoxville area to work after I got my degree. And then I went back to school at a school right outside of Knoxville, Carson Newman University. And so then I moved to Nashville to work full time for about 5 years. And now I'm back in Knoxville. And so Tennessee raised, and moving back home in the past 6 months has been a journey. I'm seeing Knoxville in a different way as an adult now and exploring different parts of it. So I think it's super cool to be back home as well.
Got you. Now, we're going to flash back. How was it growing up in Knoxville? We're going to go flash back to young Lexus. So how was it growing up in Knoxville and those times, in your younger years? Not to say you're
Yeah.
old. Not to say you're old. I'm not saying you're old. In your younger years.
For sure. I've always had everything I need, a great family support system. Knoxville has been, it was all I knew until I left. Comparing Knoxville to Nashville, very different. However, you're still going to get that Tennessee feel, Vols, and it's been great. It's been a great journey. I think I give a lot of respect to my parents, and then also just the other educators that I've been around with and gotten to grow up to learn from. So Knoxville has been a great experience. I've got my in-laws here, and my mom and stepdad are here, and so right now it's just cool, like I said earlier, to be home and where God has placed me and my husband to be right now.
Got you. Now, Knoxville, it's snowing now. People don't understand. It definitely does snow in Tennessee. It snows in Nashville sometimes as well. Memphis, they get more ice than snow, but that's another story. So Knoxville, of course, is where the University of Tennessee is, and the Vols and things like that. So I've got to say, I do like UT Vols. I'm a Vols fan. So how was it growing up there with that kind of energy all around? Because I know during football season, the energy was always on another level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, basketball season, that can be kind of hit or miss, especially, men's basketball. Women's basketball, no. The energy is going to be there. So how was it growing up just in that football? It's basically, it's not necessarily just all the football town, but a lot of people know it for football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been around sports my whole life playing. And so with the mesh of just the energy that the University of Tennessee creates in Knoxville, it just feels like a college town, but bigger in my opinion. I think that, growing up as a basketball player and Pat Summitt being the coach here and Candace Parker coming through here, Chris Lofton, these are all like basketball icons from Tennessee. And then you go to football and, I grew up going to games and Saturdays and kneeling is what you hear and tailgating and all of that. And so it's just a culture that can't really be explained until you've experienced it. And so I bleed orange. And I've always been a Vol fan and appreciative of what Tennessee has done in the sports community.
Got you. Yeah, definitely looking forward to what these college playoffs going to look like today since they're playing Ohio State. That'll be pretty interesting. But
For sure.
kind of got to dive over to one other thing before we take a commercial break. Of course, everyone always has something they want to be growing up. Like me, I wanted to be a pro football player. Made it to college, didn't quite make it to the pros. But another thing I wanted to be was a sports agent. Didn't quite happen either. What is one thing that you wanted to be growing up? When you were a kid, you're like, oh, I want to be that when I grow up.
Mm-hmm. I never pinpointed it exactly. And my mom and dad always told me that was okay. Just keep figuring it out. But I do remember when I was heavy into basketball and like I said, growing up watching Pat Summitt coach and AAU games and teams, I did want to be a basketball player. And I got to play in college. I got to experience that. But I think the older I got, I realized it's, not all rainbows and butterflies and life happens. And so I kind of didn't really know exactly my path until late in college, which was okay. I knew I wanted to be in athletics somehow, but that's still very general. And so not having it figured out or even having it figured out with that plan change and not what my plan is, but what God's plan is for me, really settled in when I got older and realized I can't control everything. And so, but I think the thing that sticks out the most is I wanted to be a basketball player. And so that's what I worked for.
Okay. All right. So, for those that don't know, you are in athletics, but we're going to get into what you do in athletics. But first, of course, we got to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into that and more on This Woman Works with Lexus McDaniel.
A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, we are back on This Woman Works with Lexis McDaniel. Now, I mentioned before the break, you're still in athletics, but just a little bit different than actually playing. So for those that don't know, can you tell them what you do?
Yes, so my title is the Director of Sports Performance, aka I'm a strength and conditioning coach at a private school in Knoxville called the Webb School.
Okay, all right. So into sports performance, weights, conditioning, things like that. When did that start to fester in you to potentially be a career for you?
Yeah, when I was done playing collegiate basketball, I still wanted to find a way to continue with my passions, but obviously I knew it was time for me to be done playing basketball. And so how could I still impact athletes and stay in the field in a different way? And so at first I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist, and then I thought I wanted to be an athletic trainer. But working with the injury side of things wasn't exactly my go-to. And while I was done playing, I was still in the weight room. I was still working out and just trying to feel like an athlete again, knowing that I wasn't. And so I did a bunch of internships in college to find out what I wanted to do and what I didn't. And I just used that as a learning experience. And when I got more into the weight room and the collegiate setting and the high school setting, I fell in love with it. And I felt like I could really transform athletes off their playing surfaces. So like the field, the court, all of that. But I could also make them feel stronger and empowering in the weight room as well. And my biggest philosophy is, how can they lift safely and condition safely while that translates to their sport? And so that's where my passion came. I started off just taking some strength and conditioning classes in college towards the end of my bachelor's degree. And then my first real strength and conditioning internship was at the University of Georgia, where I worked with every sport there in the weight room. And I got to truly see how these exceptional athletes at this very large SEC level, Division I level, might not know how to do basic movements in the weight room. And that just blew my mind. You can be one of the best basketball players or one of the best football players, but if your high school didn't have a strength and conditioning program to teach you how to get stronger, or maybe help prevent some injuries, then that's where my job came in. And I fell in love with that. The collegiate world, it's different than high school. And so how I got into high school was, I knew I wanted to make an impact on younger athletes, and I wanted more of a secure job. And so I looked into high schools that really poured into strength and conditioning and made it a factor and made it a priority to have a strength and conditioning program. And honestly, at the time, Knoxville didn't have any schools like that. And strength and conditioning is still growing. And there's just certain parts of the country where it's bigger. and more important. And so hopefully across the country, we see more high schools pouring into strength and conditioning. But where I am now at the Webb School, they just started the strength and conditioning program. And that's when I took the leap of faith and left the school I was at, which was a high school in Nashville. And I wanted to create the strength and conditioning program that Webb never had. And so I'm their first strength coach. I'm their first director of sports performance. And getting to work with every sport here, middle school and high school, is incredible because they've never had this and now they do. So I'm excited to be a part of their high school journey within their sport.
Wow. Nice. Let's take it back to your first foray into, actually doing this. And you said an intern at the University of Georgia. What was that first day like? Just watching the athletes, thinking of all the different things that you're doing to try to help them, and just overall just being in that moment.
Yeah, it was intense. I was working 16-ish hours a day.
Wow.
It was insane. You train every team. Sometimes teams can't come in together due to classes. So you're training individual athletes at different types of hours. And then when you're not training athletes, you're reading books, you're talking with coaches, you're building relationships. You're just trying to be a sponge and soak up as much information as you can. And then also in my off time, I was doing the workouts myself, putting my body through them to see what I'm giving to my athletes. And I'm all about, if I'm going to program something, I'm going to do it as well. I'm not just going to program it just to give it to you. I'm going to take my body through it too, to see how it makes me feel as well. And so Georgia was very, very intense. I was there for a full year. So I got to see a full calendar year of an athlete, off season, in season, preseason. And I thought that was really cool. I learned so much information. I built so many great relationships in this field, women, men, and then also athletes as well. There's athletes that I've worked with that I still talk to now, some Olympians, some NFL players. And I just think that that's what shaped my career. It was not all rainbows and butterflies. I was an intern. I was not getting paid. So I just moved out of the state, somewhere I don't know anybody. Remember, I'm a Vol fan. So why are you going to Georgia? Even my dad couldn't fathom it. But obviously everybody knew it was for me and my career and to see if this is what I want to do. And so it was the thing that truly shaped my career. And I learned what to do and what not to do. And the people who had an impact on me there are still very impactful. And I'm appreciative that I had that opportunity.
Nice. Now, we all have that one moment that stands out to us that's like, okay, cool, I'm where I'm supposed to be. What was that moment for you in your field and in your chosen profession?
Yeah, it's easy to say that right now. I feel 100% like where I am right now, and taking this leap of faith to move back home, move to a town that I never said I would move back to because the world is out there. Why move back home? But God had different plans for me. And when I even saw that Webb was pouring into a strength and conditioning program, I wanted to go back and impact the people around where I grew up and didn't have this program. The high school I went to is 10 minutes from here. And so I think it's so cool to still run into some people who impacted me. I think every place I've been has been good for that moment and shaped some form or way of my career. And so it's not just now, it's the 5 years before this when I was at Innsworth School in Nashville. It's the 2 years before that when I was in grad school working at Carson Newman as a strength coach. It's the year before that when I was at Georgia. And so I think every experience I've had has been great for the time. But now I think I'm 100% where I need to be making an impact this past 6 months.
Nice. Now, of course, with every opportunity, with every decision, with every thing that's done, there's always challenges and things like that. We're going to get into what those challenges are that you've kind of come across, as well as some advice along the way, right after this commercial break on This Woman Works.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off all these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get this EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works. Now, Lexis, I don't know if you thought about this or anything like that. Like, why is a beard commercial on This Woman Works? But I always like to take time to explain. Reason why that's on the show is because, of course, we as men don't necessarily take the best care of ourselves all the time. So sometimes it takes a woman to actually point that out. That, hey, maybe you need this to take care of you, something like that. So for all the women that are watching and listening, of course, you got your significant other, you got your cousin, your dad, whoever. That's for you. That's for you. That's for, and of course, Christmas is coming. It's here in about 14 days. So, hey, who knows? He can ship it out and get it to you before Christmas. But anyway, that's why that is on the show. I don't know if you had questions about that, but hey, I like to have fun explaining that. It's fun.
Thank you for that. I agree, though. It's women help the men,
Yeah,
we all help each other.
Yeah, for sure. Now, of course, like I mentioned before the commercial break, challenges and advice. Now, in your career, I know strength and conditioning coach, you're the director of, you said director, the title again, I'm sorry?
Director of sports performance, or just the head strength and conditioning coach.
Got you. Director of sports performance or head conditioning coach, strength and conditioning coach. Now, along that journey, I know there's always been some challenges. You are a Black woman that is the head of doing strength and conditioning. So what is one of the challenges that is really, kind of impacted or came along during your career?
Yeah, for sure. I think the first thing is just being a woman in this field. If you think about the sports that are going to start off or have started off with strength and conditioning, it's football, and women don't play football, and so it's just this whole stigma around women in the weight room, and how can you tell me what to do? And it's always been a male dominant field. And so with that being said, the challenges have come, but the advice I have with that is I've always stayed true to myself and been confident. And if you know what you're talking about, if you know your stuff, and if you have information or data to back it up, then I think why fold into the stigma of the male dominated field? And I do think that stigma is still here, but it's also getting away from that, and more women are feeling comfortable getting in this field, and specifically more Black women. And I think it's representative. It's important to represent, and the athletes that we train. it's cool for them to see somebody look like them, and it's cool for their parents to see that. And so I think that just some of the challenges I've had are maybe athletes not being all the way bought in because I'm a female, or coming in and really having to set the tone, or in which I've always had to do. But I think, being a woman may be extra, or having to defend myself in different ways that maybe a man wouldn't have to do. And so it's definitely getting better. Right now, I definitely have support, and I think buy-in as well, other issues in the field, athletes being bought in, parents being bought in. So the situation I'm in now is Webb didn't have a strength and conditioning, a strength and conditioning area, a strength and conditioning, offer. And so parents who did want to pour into their kids are going out to all these other gyms. And so then I come in, and I'm not telling them to not go out to these other gyms, but I'm trying to make their money worth, and allow them to use everything here. It costs to go here. And so why not have those parents pay tuition one time for everything? And so just the buy-in of when I first got here, making sure that I'm really building those relationships and setting the tone, and trying to prove why my workouts and programs are important and how I can make an impact as well.
Gotcha. Now, I know some parents will probably get pushback and all those different things, and that's going to happen. With not everyone's going to buy enough time, but it's good to hear that you've definitely stayed the course, and not let that deter you from the objective, which is making these kids better.
Exactly. You just got to stick to what you know, and keep that tunnel vision, while also being able to be flexible, and just like I said, back up what you know as well. Always have something to back it up, and a reason why behind it.
Gotcha. Yeah, the when, the why, and the how, and all those questions. Definitely parents are going to ask that. Some kids may ask it, but one thing I would like to ask is, advice. You mentioned some advice for someone, but what is the biggest bit of advice you got from someone just that has helped you throughout your career?
For sure. I think it's that piece. It's that, don't just look on Instagram for exercises. Don't just read on something and automatically plug it in. Do your research behind, and always have a reason. It's so easy to just copy another coach, or it's so easy to just have AI create a program now. Like we're talking in today's terms, and AI is huge now. And so I think that sticking to your research, sticking to your knowledge and your heart and your passion, and understanding the sport that you are programming for, so that they can translate. You watch soccer, using those movement patterns that they use on the soccer field in the weight room, so that it translates, and it's sport specific. My advice is also going with my philosophy and creating the long-term athletic development. Not just worried about the number of pounds that they can lift, or how many reps that they can do, but understanding the quality over quantity. And a lot of kids give pushback with that, because they're like, Coach, I can squat this much. But if their squat's not low enough, or if their knees are caving in and it just doesn't look good technically, I'm going to take them back, and we're going to go lighter until your form can be perfected. And so I think the biggest piece of advice is just sticking to what you know, sticking with your philosophy, and keep building from there with your research, not just what everybody else is putting on social media or what everybody else is saying.
Right. Now, definitely you hit a point there. Kids, lifting weights and then having, terrible form. Yeah, that is huge, because a strength and conditioning coach is there to not only help you reach your best, but also help you reach it the best way possible. And definitely I've seen a few people over my time, just back going to high school, using terrible form to do things. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know what they're getting out of this. They're gonna
Right.
hurt their back. They're doing bench press, but I'm like, okay, why you all the way up off the bench, off the, you gonna hurt your back doing that, something. It just, yeah, seeing those different things, I was like, yeah, strength coach, a good strength coach that's worth their weight in gold is not going to allow that to happen, because they want the best for you and the best form for you. Because it's not only about the best form, it's also about doing it and sustaining the power that you're trying to bring and putting those movements into the sport they're doing. Like one thing I always was interested in or saw was the type of different muscles that you kind of stimulate during different sports, and how those muscles need to be. And that's where I think a strength and conditioning coach comes in handy, to be able to build those muscles the way it's conducive to that particular sport. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely. And we go back to like when I was in college. I'm 28, so I wasn't in college long ago, but when I played basketball in college, it was my assistant coach, who might not have even had a background in strength and conditioning, taking us to the track to run. And when you think about basketball, coaches are getting away from that style of conditioning now, just because it's not sport specific. When in a basketball game are you running the same amount as you would consistently on a track? You know what I mean? And so, not to say anybody's wrong, it's just new research comes out. You've got, this is really sad, but kids passing out, kids dying with improper training and improper conditioning, or not assessing everything else that these kids have going on. Or right after this, they could go to another practice, or they could go to the gym with their parents, or work out at home. And so I just think, we have to be smart and understand that they're humans as well. And we also have to understand their sport, and understand, like you said, their muscles and their movement patterns, so that we can create the best athlete, while also keeping, my job is to essentially work for the head coach and keeping the athletes on their playing field. I'm not preventative 100% of injuries. I'm not God. I can't do that, but I could teach you the right technical ways to lift, to make certain muscles stronger, to hopefully minimize the likelihood of injuries.
Got you. Definitely have learned a lot in terms of strength and conditioning from you, along with learning your journey, Knoxville to Middle Tennessee. Well, sorry, to North Carolina, to Middle Tennessee, to Nashville, to Knoxville again. So definitely a lot of North Carolina and Tennessee in that journey. But, I want to allow everyone to get to know you just a little bit more, maybe away from the things that you do, which are great, by the way. And I applaud you from all the great things that you're doing. But let's get to the speed round. It's 10 random questions to get to know you just a little bit more. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Beach, anywhere.
Okay. All right. Your favorite actress?
That's tough. Viola Davis is one of them.
Oh, yeah. That she has been mentioned a lot. Another one's been mentioned is Angela Bassett. That is another one.
For sure. It's hard for me to think like right on the spot, but yes, for sure.
Gotcha. That's what makes it so fun. Okay. Song in constant rotation on your playlist?
Right now, Not Like Us, Kendrick. But it depends on my mood. It really does. A lot of Christmas music now too.
Gotcha. I've probably watched a ton of Christmas movies on Tubi the last few days. But let's see. Speaking of movies, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie right now is Elf with Will Ferrell, especially this time of year. But I think overall, depends on my mood. If we're talking about like a favorite classic, ooh, come back to me on that.
Okay, all right.
That's not how the game works, but
yeah, I'll give you a pass this time. I'll give you a pass.
Okay,
but if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Kobe Bryant.
Got you. How did I figure that would be the case? But let's see. Your favorite childhood memory?
There's so many. I think the best was when like my family was all together in one
Mhm.
house. My parents are now divorced, but I still have memories of us like all four going on vacation and just traveling together.
Okay. All right. Worst movie you've ever seen?
Bad grandpa.
Okay. Yeah, I get that one. Favorite food?
Anything Asian food.
Okay. All right.
Ramen, egg rolls, sushi. I love Asian food.
Yeah, sushi is awesome. It is awesome. Who would play you in a biopic? I
Kerry
got one person.
Washington.
Okay. All right. All right. I was gonna say Andrea Lewis, but
Oh,
hey.
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Let's see. Favorite restaurant?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Okay. All right. We're going back to the let's see, which one are we at?
The movie, the classic
The
movie.
favorite, yeah, favorite movie.
Bring It On.
Bring it on. Okay. All right. Yeah, me, I'm going like 1980s and 90s. I'm going like it's gotta be New Jack City is probably one of my
Okay.
favorites.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Nino Brown is probably one of my favorite characters of all time.
that.
All time. Yeah, because that is the best, that is the best role that Wesley Snipes has ever played in his life.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like that movie.
Yep. And then of course it got mimicked in so many different things. Most notably got mimicked in Martin when when he had the dog and sitting around the
Mhm.
table. Yeah, that
Yep.
was the scene from New Jack City for those that aren't aware. But yeah, you are off the hot seat. The speed round is over. I want to thank you, Lexus, for coming on the show. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for allowing everyone to get to know you and to understand your journey and your career, which is very, very unique. And it's very, very, I applaud you, I should say, for the unique and special journey that you've started and continue on. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to be very, very successful because you definitely sound very, very committed to all the things that you do. I want to give you the floor to kind of, tell everyone if they want to come find you on social media or any other things you may be working on.
For sure. So I am on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, coach ____ three of them, Lexis. That's one of them. And then I also have my personal training / coaching Instagram where it's really motivational and I just try to make working out feel personal, feel like it's not a have to, but you get to. And I just post motivational quotes in my workouts and just daily life, but fitness. And that Instagram is Flex by Lex. And so that's kind of like my brand that I'm working on. But other than that, I have to have a balance of social media just for myself personally as well. And you can really fall like into it in a negative way, but in a positive way, it's connected me with so many great people and we get to do things like this. And so I really appreciate you. I think that it was God for us meeting. And I appreciate what you do with this podcast and supporting Black women. So thank you for having me on here as well.
Oh, well, I appreciate the comments as well. Definitely when this was thought of, I didn't see very many people doing it, so I was like, well, why not me? I'm already doing that through my other platform, so I'm like, yeah, let's just make this platform and expand it just a little bit more. So I thank you for coming on and just allowing me to ask you questions and opening up a little bit more to all the people what all you do. Because of course, like you mentioned, there were more Black women getting into sports and doing the side of it that no one ever sees outside of the performance that is on the court or field. Of course, for those that don't know me, I'm the host of the show. My name is Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter. You see, the only X I recognize is DMX and Malcolm X, so I will not be calling that X. You know, you can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at MikePatton82. That's MikePatton 82. You can also find me on Blue Sky as well. I'm over there at the same name. You can also find me on Instagram and Threads at that's THA, not THE, _general_MP. Of course, This Woman Works is always on all listening platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. And we're also on YouTube at the Mike Patton Network. I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of This Woman Works, episode 31. It's titled Get Lifted. We're out. Peace.